Hashem Yisbarach Yoim Rishon Parshas Vayeshev Tavshin Ayin Hey Yeshiva Tiferes Avinu Parshas Vayeshev begins a very challenging time for Yaakov Avinu. It begins a time for Yaakov Avinu when he was unexpecting this. It was something he had gone through plenty in his life. He was a marked man for many years on the run. He had gone through a parsha of shidduchim like none of the other avos. Duped and deceived until he got the desired shidduch. He had gone through living in a dungeon with Mr. Sheker and trying to raise his family b'derech ha'emes in a mokim of choshech v'afela. He had an experience of a terrible episode with Dina Bas Yaakov. He had experienced the deaths of his mother Rivka, of Rachel Imenu, and he had what you call his fair share of challenges in his life. And he, by this time, was already an old man, over 100 years old. And he was on the lam. You realize for many years he was in exile in Golus, Minutik, from Eretz Megurei Aviv, and finally Vayeshev Yaakov be'Eretz Megurei Aviv. He's Mishavti el Beis Aviv. His circle, his return begins to become complete. And all of a sudden, Chazal tell us, Bikesh Yaakov leishev b'shav. Vayeshev Yaakov settled. Somehow, the word settled, because he came to Eretz Canaan, he came to Eretz Yisrael, so he wasn't a stranger here. It wasn't Logur, but it was to live. But Chazal tell us the word Vayeshev implies as a yeshiva of Menucha. Bikesh Yaakov leishev b'shalva. He wanted to live now in his place b'shalva. Kafat zolov roig shel Yosef. And now there sprung upon him the whole sorrow, the sudden fashion of Mechiras Yosef, and this made all the other tzaras look like child's play. Why is that? Because all the other tzaras, as terrible as they were a challenge to his olam hazeh. But this was a challenge to his olam haba. Yaakov Avinu was told in a nevuah that if he loses one of his children, he is not going to see the next world. And if he makes it out of this world, all of his children intact, he's going to be zoiche to Olam HaNetzach. Yaakov Avinu was someone who lived for Olam HaNetzach. He lived for Olam HaNetzach. And now he was kafatz of Azar Roiges, which is, we can begin to imagine the challenge that Yosef was to Yaakov, a personal challenge that had tremendous reverberations, tremendous teitzois, consequences. And this was something that he had to face, and face it he did. Chazal tell us that Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rashi quotes the Medrash, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lo dayin l'tzadikim. It's not enough for tzadikim that masher mesukin lahem lo'ilum haba. Is it not enough what I prepared for them for eternal in ilum haba? Ela shemevakshim leishem b'shalva b'ilum hazeh. And everybody asks and stells, why doesn't Hashem forgive tzaddikim a little menucha? It's not like Yaakov Avinu was looking to swing in a hammock. It's not like he was looking to take long walks along the seashore. It wasn't like it was looking to spend quality time with the grandkids. What he was looking for was how to what? To prepare for Yom. Prepare for Yom. Chazak Nachamah. If I get to sit and learn a little bit, to be misboided with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in such a fashion, without any disturbances, that a schlechte Zach. Now, you have to know that there is a Sefer HaYashar of Rabbeinu Tam. The Rabbeinu Tam, in Sefer HaYashar, in Shar Hashishi, in the Midah Hashishis, he writes like this. Now what he teaches us over here, this Hashkafas HaChayim, runs contrary to everything we grow up with, everything we hear, and everything we're exposed to. And he says like this, a person goes through this world with experiences, constantly encountering chidushim, new, good ones, and bad ones. Will a person be put up? Will a person be put down? Will a person profit and have money? Or will he lose his money? Will he get sick? or one of his children gets sick, will he be forced to leave the place that he lives, or does he end up in jail? Or one of his good friends die. All of these things are the chidushim, and there are many more like this. You have to think about this, that people face every single day in their life. The potential is unbelievable. And know what all these things, the common denominator is, the tzad hashav is, all these things? When they happen to a person, they divert a person from his ability to be Oved Hashem, and they make him forget totally about Avodas Hashem. Now, Zok Rabbeinu Tam, these episodes that you will face in your life are episodes will determine whether you're a chazak or a rafa. Are you strong or are you weak? If a person is strong and his emunah is founded, no chidush, nothing that happens to him will be able to take him away from Avodas Hashem. Nothing will divert him from his purpose in this world. None of the strong winds, just like strong winds cannot uproot mountains, strong seichel and emunah, chazaka, will never be moved. So how does a person prepare himself? So what is counter to everything we grow up with, because as parents, we all try to give our children the false, deceptive hope that Shefala, Mommy's gonna take care of everything. Shefala, Mommy's gonna make sure you never get sick. Shefala, Mommy's gonna make sure you're never missing anything. Shefala, Tati is gonna make sure that you're gonna grow up and be strong and healthy. Tati is gonna make sure you're gonna stay out of trouble. Tati is gonna make sure we're never gonna have to move. How many times have I heard from parents? My ashkafa is, our ashkafa is, we're going to give our children everything that we didn't have. We grew up lacking, because my father was this, my mother was this, and I made a decision. When I grow up, I'm going to give my children whatever I can in order to give them a better life that I had. What a falsehood. What a shtus. This is hevel. You know what you just did? You just brought up crippled kids who are weak like reeds of grass. And the slightest wind is going to blow them, and all of a sudden the mother's going to have to come and say, Shefala, Mommy lied. I lied to you. I told you all the life that I'm going to provide for you. I can't. Shefala, Mommy told you she's going to keep you healthy. I lied. I had no ability to keep you healthy. Shefala, I told you you're always going to be happy, never to get sick. I lied once again. And everything was a mountain of shkarim and kizavim from the tchila ad hasoif. And you created such weaklings that as soon as the kid hears that, you know what happens? The kid decides, I'm running away from here. I don't want to live in this house full of lies. I'm going to go out in the world and try to make my own way and take care of myself. What a parent has to say to this child is, my dear Kindle, we are all in the hands of Hashem Yisbarach. I'm just like you. I'm a child of Hashem. I can only help you as much as Hashem lets me help you. I can only protect you as much as Hashem gives me the koyach. But Hashem may not give me that. I may not be here for you all the time. You may not be here for me all the time. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to make every day count. We're going to thank Hashem that today we have each other. And we're going to enjoy each other. And we're going to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for His wonderful tova and bracha. You have to say to your child, I can't keep you healthy. Yes, we have to try to wear coats in the winter. We have to try to eat properly. That's what I can do. But Hashem knows what's best, and Hashem brings things to people. Even big tzaddikim. Your mother tells him, as a parent, you should tell your child, let me tell you a story about a big tzaddik. His name was Yaakov Avinu. And he had a son who was his Yerush. And he gave him all of his Torah. And he thought this son was going to be the turning ticket for Klal Yisrael. He thought Yosef was going to be the mamshich of the dark of Yaakov, and he put all his Torah in it. All the secrets that he knew. And he knew lots of secrets. And then one day, Yosef disappeared. You want to know what Kindle? Yaakov Avinu did not miss one Shabbos. Yaakov Avinu did not even get upset at Hashem. Yaakov Avinu doesn't say once in the pasuk, Vayichar Yaakov. When Yaakov got angry, Torah tells us that. When he got angry. When it was Vayetzer Lo, the Torah doesn't hold anything back. When he was facing Esav, Vayira, he was afraid. Vayetzer Lo, he was pained. You think if Yosef got taken away, you know what it should have said? Vayira, Vayetzer, Vayisatzev. It should have given me everything in the world, every description of depression, of throwing in the towel. You know why? Because he understood that I'm here for one thing, to serve Hashem. And what's going to be tomorrow, I have no idea. I can hope it's going to be good. BK Shleich Shebeshalba. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no. You haven't seen anything yet. You got one more major hurdle, major accomplishment. And if you stick and stay the course, it'll all turn out good. And eventually, not 1 year, not 2 years, not a 5-year Nisayon, not an 8-year Nisayon, not a 10-year Nisayon. I'm trying to think of a Nisayon that carries on for 22 years. It's a 22-year Nisayon. You know what kind of challenge it is? I would have given up way long ago. Suddenly the lights goes on, and Yaakov Avinu did not one time falter. Because you can be sure if he faltered once, the Torah would have jumped all over it, and the mefarsim it for all college to know about it. Now, how do you understand, how do you acquire a leiv chazak? How do you prepare yourselves up to a bit of time to be makabel all these ma'irayas, so you don't just fall down or fall apart? He said, "V'yachshav b'hem b'terem boyam." You should think about them before they come. What does that mean? V'yamtinem. You should await for them. V'chol Uvechol yoim, uvechol shah, uvechol chodesh. Every day you should wake up and say, you know what? Maybe today is my last day that I'm not going to have to begin a course of visiting all kind of doctors. Who knows, maybe today is the last day. Doesn't make a difference if you're old, if you're young, if you eat mayonnaise, if you don't eat mayonnaise, you take vitamins, you don't take vitamins. It's all nonsense. You eat carrots, you don't eat carrots. Doesn't make any difference. Every single person is capable, every single day, your world could turn over. I used to think about this so many times. I would come home for yeshiva, I want to think Shrek. I have so many kids today. You know how many accidents that could be? And I used to picture how many accidents could kids get into every day. They could come running up steps, running down steps, they could fall, they could break their heads, break their ankles, break their legs. There's so many things that they play with electric, they play with this, you try. And every time you think of something, you can't always think of something better. He goes behind the stove and starts to pull the gas line. You think you're smart, and they're smarter. And if it's not your kids, it's your kids' friends. And they get themselves into anything that moves or shakes. It could be cleaner, oven cleaner, this cleaner, that cleaner. And if a person would think about making this house, they call it today kid-proof. This is like the same mother who's trying to, I don't say a person should be a mazik, it's hilchos mazik, you're not allowed to leave out. Dvorim hamazikin, no. But a person trying to make this happen, his life hezek-proof. The second he gets a shtickle hezek, that guy is going to fall to pieces and break down and crumble like a crackly old dried out toothpick. Get garnished. A person has to understand. Now what this does is people say, doesn't this make you nervous? No, it doesn't. It builds up your muscles. You know what it's like? It's like a guy who decides he wants to have, I get some mishigas in himself. I want to have big muscles. Why does a guy want to have big muscles? It's a mishuggah. What does big muscles mean? It makes you sick, it makes you plod. You ever see these guys with big muscles, they can't walk straight, they walk side to side, their hands don't fit in their shirts, and their jackets. We had a Talmud once, he had these big muscles. The guy couldn't put on tefillin in the morning. He couldn't find the shirt that went over his thing, in his thing. I took him what's up from that, mamish. He couldn't find the jacket. He had to get a jacket 5 sizes too big for him in order to get the sleeve in his jacket. It wasn't shy. The guy didn't have arms, he had tree stumps. I explained to him over here, it doesn't look cool. People think you're fat. It's not appreciated here. You know what I mean? I told him, what he gave me. Why do people do this? Because they want to have big muscles. They understand it. So you think, what do you do big muscles? There's a rule in exercise. No pain, no gain. You don't pick up 5 pounds and get big muscles. This guy used to press 500 pounds. He once did, on a normal basis, he once did 650. The guy was a stickle, you know, keeper. But you know what the guy suffered for that? He paid for that. His back was out. His rotator cuff and his shoulders went out. He had pains. The guy was Bali Surum Gedolim. I told him I had no rachmanis. I just hope you get kapara for it. Because you were EU the afsa the nafshe, you were pasha ba'atzmai for the ego. Because you thought you get some ego, you sold yourself to the devil. That's all. Okay. But people do that. But it's no pain, no gain. That's you understand. So what you have to do, you have to prepare yourself. A person has a child, nobody thinks that child's going to be here forever. And then one day what happens? He walks in the street, there's a young couple, heartbreaking story, kept their child in the house for 3 months, didn't take him out of his house once. They waited a couple years to have kids. They finally had a kid. It was the apple of their eye. The apple of their eye. They decided that the first thing they're going to do, Haley mentioned, they were inspired couple. The first thing they're going to do, first outing they're going to do is take their kid to the Makom HaMikdash. Is there anything holier than that? Not to the mall, not to the park, or not to the zoo, like the other ones do, or take it to the candy store, or ice cream store. The ones have in their mind. I'm going to take this child to the Makkah and make this guy's mother. Is any bigger carbon than that? Somebody would have told him, this is the carbon, this is Mizbeach. What you're doing, you're going to this place for the same reason with your child, for the very same reason that Avram took his child. And when Avram took his child there, what did he take him for? Halei Shom Leila. Took him to Shalem Shom. That's it. And he brought the kid, and they took pictures over there. Oh, the kid looks cute. The kid looked beautiful. Beautiful pictures. And I studied those pictures. I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is there anything to indicate that in 5 minutes it's going to all be history? Nothing. Nothing. And before they knew it, they never arrived home with their child. Their child, Hashem had taken this child back, and it was a heartbreaking story. Now, if you don't think about that, you know what happens? You become sebrochen to pieces. That's what happens. And the more you don't think about it, the more it's sebrochen. The more you get a child, and the more you're convinced, this is my child. I finally have a child. I'm never, and you know what mother told me? I'm never letting this child go. I think, are you crazy? What kind of stupid talk is that? What do you mean never letting this child go? You're the letting the child go? Yes. I think, chicken, anything that happens to this child, the littlest thing, the mother threw little pieces. How many parents get this? There's such a thing now called crib death. You put your child to sleep at night, you get a kiss, you say a malach hagoyel, you come back a couple of hours later, and the child is not bein achai. If you don't prepare for that, but if you prepare for that, you know what would happen? Every day, you came to the crib of that child in the morning, and your child was screaming and crying, and made a dirty, filthy, smelly diaper all over the bed. You know what you would look at it and say, Moina lefanecha melech chai v'kayim. That's what you would say. Screaming, Baruch Hashem, another day of life. Another day of life. And you go through different, every day of a child, when you're carrying a child, it could be miscarriage. This could happen. Then you get past miscarriage, then you, in a certain period of time, and then have this crib death. That is different. Always things happen. Ma'oroyas and chidushim are always available. But if you don't prepare yourself, so that's what Rabbi Tam tells us. The yomer b'libo, you should say to yourself, if lo yavoyu hayoyim, if they don't come today, yavoyu l'machar. And if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Ukishiyasa, and when you do this, and you'll be focused on these episodes, so then when they'll come, you know what's going to happen? Lo yatrideyu, they won't shake you to pieces. Lo yashkicheyu avoida, you won't forget the avoida. Ki yimtza'uhu mizumin l'kabelis. You're going to be prepared to mekabelis. And he says, this is what the tzaddik does. I've spoken to people who have been through the war, the Holocaust. They had chidushim v'nifloim that they could have never thought about. It could have never entered their mind chidushim like these. But they were exposed to over there, unimaginable by any stretch of the imagination. And what happened is, most of the people saw this. They lost their minds from criticism. Some committed suicide. Some couldn't live with themselves. They were worse off after the war than during the war. You know why? Because they never prepared for this. You know what they said? We live in a new world now. Such a thing will never happen. Yes, Jews. You're going to hold people out of their houses in the middle of the day, German nation is going to, cultured people is going to do this. What are these? Hooties? Tooties? What are these people? Savages. Cultured people. Middle of meal, not going to let me finish my meal. Not going to let me rest. Taking out the pajamas in the middle of the night. What are you talking about? Suddenly, they found themselves thrown and their life went helter-skelter. And then those people who worked on it, I have an aunt, she lived with me well to 120. And she doesn't talk much about it. But I asked her a number of times. She said, anybody who went in with strong emunah came out stronger. Anybody who went in without emunah came out weaker. That's what you saw, hachozaku harafa. Then we were able to tell who was weak and who was strong. And you can't wait till you get into that situation. You know what happens there? What happens? This young couple lost a child now. They weren't prepared for this. I don't blame them. They weren't prepared for this. They didn't think it's a possibility. It is possible. You have a true possibility. Take a kid out, that's going to be the last time. So, now, they're struggling and trying to find chizik. But you can't put life into something that didn't have the chizik beforehand. If your brain was not programmed for that event, now it's too late. All the chizik I'll give you know what it's going to do? I could never fill that hole in your heart. That hole in your heart is always going to be there. All the chizik I'm going to tell you. Know what you're going to say, Dan? You'll listen, you'll smile, you'll say, well, why me? Why did it have to be this way? That's what it's. You go to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. That'll give you time, it'll give you chizik, and it'll tell you straight. Don't worry about it. Move on. How could my wife, day and night she cries, and she thinks, and she's, I understand that, but a person has to be prepared. You never know, from moment to moment. And that's how you live life. Instead of it getting, so many people think, oh, I don't want to think like that. That'll get me down. That'll get me down. No, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to get you up. Because what it's going to do for you, it's going to make you realize how every single minute that you're breathing, how lucky you are. And every single minute that you don't feel any bumps in your armpits or on your neck or in other places in your body where there shouldn't be any bumps. You feel strange bumps, oh, you're going to be thankful to Hashem. And you're going to be thankful to Hashem and tell you, why can't I think of things? Every person I know grows things on himself. Things are always growing. Some guy little pimples, different kind of pimples. Everybody's growing. I don't know one person, pure white, doesn't have anything waxing on it. Episvax. Somewhere, some more, some bachis, some yoiser, beauty marks, ugly marks, what kind of marks? Hashem letting you know, don't take it for granted. Just because your skin looks like this doesn't mean it's going to make it tomorrow. Skin looks smooth. Look at your skin. Looks smooth. If you go to the mikveh and all of a sudden you see somebody, you say, wow, what is that? And then you say to yourself, oh, thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. You'll say, Hashem, thank you. I never even dreamed to think that I don't have psoriasis all over my body. It's painful. It's inconvenient. It's not pretty. Okay, so most of us are not going to be models. We won't be the model for OSEP. So, they're not going to put us in diapers and show us drinking the Rav Yisroel formula. So, we don't have to worry so much about it. But, still, it's an unpleasant thing. It's an unpleasant thing. So, I have to think about this. Then you know what happens? Then you have nothing to see people asking, what are you so happy about? Then you say, oh, I'm very happy. I'm very happy because there's no reason why my skin should be smooth. No reason at all. No reason. Over here I have some. Over here I have some too. I have some over there too. So this thing's what you were going. I should let you know. Don't ever take it for granted. Here a guy gets something, he starts to go to war with it. Goes to war with it. You know, you say, I'm going to battle with it. You know what Hashem says? Hashem's laughing all the way to the bank. You're going to battle? You think you're going to battle. So a person has to think about this. He says, you have to get a whole new perspective on life. This is a perspective that a person has to have in life in order to succeed in life. You know why? It's not only to maintain and make it through life. He says, this world is a nevei hakloyos. Know what that means? It's a mokaim, a place that's muchan for perennials. Here's a guy that's getting married. One of the things, I'm going to live happily ever after. Look at the chances of you living happily ever after. Like finding snowballs in Florida in 100-degree weather. There's no such a thing. What are the chances of a couple living together and always being happy? That's real. I don't want you to have to kill each other, but always being happy. Maximizing the relationship. And mamish feeling a chiyus from your zivul. In spite of all the daily grind, sorrows, parnasa, chayli, tzagil bonim, tzagil that, tzag this, tzahum. If there's somebody sorrows, how's giant? You know why? This world is the bad. He says, Al Kain, you should put your einov v'liboy behem kol rega. And if you do that, lo yatridu kishayavoyu v'lo yachridu. They'll come, they won't throw you off. But they're only going to throw off those people who are batuach lo'einu. Lately you hear of so many divorces getting going on. I'm thinking to myself, every time I stand by a chuppah, I think, I hope this will last. I think many things. When I give them a bracha, I think they should, number one, they should last. Today, it's too common. After a few months, one might make a discovery about the other, and it's off. Or one young man says something stupid, or he reveals to his wife something he did, or he likes to do. When he's yilbash shchayrim, and his wife gives him the dump. Or maybe the wife opens up her mouth, and he discovers that she has baggage, and it's over. 1 second, the whole relationship. I've seen relationships get divorced. I had a relative got divorced during Sheva Brachos. I said, Sheva Brachos? I remember it drove me so nuts. How do you break up during Sheva Brachos? When I got into it, I understood. Details. It wasn't just on the fight, you know what I mean? He'd make the right eggs. She liked the way he said thank you, though. It was people with problems, but they didn't find that problem before. You understand how many people go through shalom biases? It happens day and night, people. Everybody says shalom bias. You have to be safe to shalom bias. Be safe. And you understand every situation is not only a situation. He says, the people who think I'm batuach ba'ilam, the yomer, they say, ki lo yitavei alav tzara. Oh, me turn not going to come. I'm going to live a life of shalom. So then when it comes upon him, heipich me'asher choshav, he loses his mind, he loses his amunah, he loses his avodah. Don't ever trust for one rega in the Torah Sa'il. This is how a person is going to be matzliach, and his avodah is going to be this guy.